"You're not on the list," Claire said. Without even looking at the screen in front of her, she stood at the host stand of Étoile Cuisine's new Atlanta location, speaking to a black woman in a white t-shirt and jeans like she wasn't supposed to be there. The woman was calm, standing straight, holding her phone, and not showing any sign of frustration yet. What Claire didn't know, what no one on staff knew, was that the woman she had just dismissed was Nia Thompson, a 42-year-old businesswoman who owned 27% of Étoile Cuisine. Nia had made a reservation through the restaurant's app to quietly observe how this newly opened branch was operating. She didn't announce herself. She wasn't here to be recognized. She was here to see how the staff treated people who didn't look like they belonged. And in just 9 minutes, someone was going to lose their job. But for now, she stayed silent and let the situation unfold. Before going further, where are you watching this from? Drop your city in the comments. If you believe everyone deserves to be treated fairly, hit the like button and subscribe, because what's about to happen is something you won't forget. Back at the restaurant, Nia calmly responded. "I made a reservation. VIP table. Table 7. Name's Thompson." Claire raised an eyebrow and gave her another look from head to toe. "We don't have anyone by that name in our system," she said flatly. "Are you sure you booked at this location?" Nia pulled out her phone and showed the confirmation. "It's here, Étoile Atlanta, Table 7, June 16th at 7 p.m. Claire barely glanced at the screen before replying. "That table's already taken." "Then I'd like to speak to the manager," Nia said. Claire rolled her eyes slightly and pointed toward a man across the room. "That's Ryan. He's the manager tonight." Nia walked over to Ryan, who looked up from the bar and gave a polite smile. "Yes?" he asked. "I have a reservation for Table 7, Nia said. "It was booked through the app under Thompson." Ryan tapped on the tablet in front of him, checked the list, and froze. He glanced quickly at the VIP area, then back at Nia. "That table has already been seated," he said. "With who?" she asked. "A couple that walked in a few minutes ago," he answered, hesitating. "They said it was their anniversary and asked for something nice." "Did they tip you?" Nia asked. Ryan shifted uncomfortably. "They left a cash tip when they arrived." "How much?" she pressed. $400, he admitted. Nia nodded once. "So you took a $400 tip and gave away my reserved table to someone else?" Ryan said nothing. He didn't deny it. Claire walked over again, holding a printed list. "There's no Thompson here," she said, waving the paper like it proved something, but a younger server, Ava Brooks, stepped closer and looked at the list. "That's not today's list," Ava said quietly. "That's yesterday's." Claire ignored her. "Maybe you made the reservation wrong," she added, still trying to push Nia out of the VIP section. "You don't exactly look like a VIP guest." Nia didn't react. Instead, she calmly said, "I want my table," Ryan replied. "That table is already seated. I can offer you a regular table or a seat at the bar." Then he waved over security. Liam, the guard on duty, came over and stood next to Nia. "Ma'am," he said in a firm voice, "we're going to need you to move if you don't have a confirmed reservation." "She does," Ava said again, louder this time. "Her name was on the app earlier." "That's enough." "Ava," Ryan snapped, "go check on Table 3. Nia held up her phone and pressed record. "You're taking money to bump reserved guests out of their tables, and now you're trying to remove me when I speak up?" she said. "I'm logging this." She stepped back and called her assistant. "Lauren, mark this down. Étoile Atlanta, Table 7 reassigned after a cash tip. I'm recording the whole interaction." "Got it," Lauren replied over the phone. "System is live." In the background, James Rivera, a middle-aged diner near the kitchen pass-through, overheard a conversation. Claire's voice came through first. "She doesn't even look like she belongs in this place." Then Ryan answered, I figured she was trying to bluff her way into VIP. Let the Harrisons have it. James frowned and looked up from his table. A moment later, he stood and walked toward the host stand. I heard everything, he said. They're lying. They gave away her table for money and then mocked her in the kitchen. Sir, please sit down, Claire said quickly. No, James replied. This isn't how you treat paying customers? Nia looked at Ryan. Is this how you run a restaurant? There was a misunderstanding, Ryan said. It's not personal. It is now, Nia said. You're going to regret this. Liam stepped forward again, but Nia didn't move. I'm not leaving, she said. And you're not laying a hand on me. Ava stood behind her, still quiet, but clearly shaken. James crossed his arms. If she needs a witness, I'm here. Nia said nothing more. She didn't need to. Her phone was still recording, and she had everything she needed. They had no idea who she was, but they were about to find out. Ryan stepped back from the host stand, his face tight, clearly irritated that the situation hadn't gone away quietly. He looked around the dining room like he expected backup from someone, but most people were now watching silently. Some were confused. Others were uncomfortable. Nia stood her ground, still calm, still holding her phone down low, still recording. Liam, the security guard, moved in closer. We've asked you to leave, ma'am, he said, this time with more pressure in his tone. If you don't have a reservation, we can't let you stand here. Nia didn't even blink. I already told you. I have one. I showed it to Claire. I told Ryan. Table 7. My name is right there in the system. Claire cut in again, arms folded, her voice louder now. We don't take fake bookings, and if you keep making a scene, we'll have to involve the police. Her voice was cold, like she'd already made up her mind about who Nia was. Ava stood off to the side, clearly uncomfortable, eyes bouncing between her co-workers and Nia. I saw her name, Ava said again, more forcefully this time. I checked it before service. Table 7, Thompson. Ryan turned toward her sharply. You are not in charge of the reservations, he snapped. Stay in your lane. Ava stepped back a little but didn't sit down. Claire added, she's trying to argue her way into VIP. This isn't the first time we've had this kind of thing. At that, James Rivera stood up again. That kind of thing? He said, his voice raised just enough for the surrounding tables to hear. What exactly is she doing wrong? She's calm. She's not yelling. She showed you her reservation. What more do you want? Ryan ignored James and turned his attention back to Liam. Please escort her out, he said. We've got guests complaining. But no one was complaining. In fact, most people were now paying attention to the argument unfolding near the host stand. A couple turned their heads and whispered to each other. A woman near the window frowned and slowly pulled out her phone. Liam looked at Nia, clearly unsure now. I don't want to make a scene, he muttered. Then don't, Nia answered. Because the only thing I've done is show up for a reservation I made through your system, and now I'm being pushed out because of how I look. She looked directly at Ryan. You've already given my table to someone else because they handed you $400. That's bad enough. But now you're trying to erase me entirely. Ryan tried to stay calm. You're becoming disruptive. I've explained that we made a mistake. No, Nia replied. You didn't explain anything. You said it was taken. You didn't offer another VIP table. You didn't apologize. You called security. She turned toward Claire. And you said I don't belong. That's what you said. Loud and clear, Claire replied. I said we couldn't find your name. That's all. That's not all, said James. You said she doesn't look like VIP? I heard it. So did others. In the kitchen, more whispers carried out to the front of the house. James tilted his head toward the swinging doors. And I heard you laughing back there about her. Don't pretend you didn't say anything. Claire's mouth tightened. She turned to Ryan, whispering something too quiet to catch. Then she disappeared into the back for a moment. Liam sighed, rubbing his forehead. Can we just figure this out without it getting worse? Nia took a step back and opened a second app on her phone. Lauren, she said quietly into her Bluetooth headset. Send my recording to the company system. Tag it urgent. Mark it for regional. Her assistant's voice came through the earpiece. Done. Elena will see it within the hour. Ryan noticed her speaking and suddenly looked nervous. Who's Elena? He asked. Nia didn't answer. Ava spoke instead. Elena Torres is the regional director, she said. She's above Ryan. Claire returned a moment later with a new printed sheet. Here's the log, she said. Still no booking for Thompson. But Ava stepped forward and took the paper. This is edited, she said. This isn't the original list I saw before service started. Ryan glared at her. Put that down. Ava looked stunned. You're changing the reservation records now? You need to stop talking. Claire snapped. James looked over at Ava. Did you see her name earlier? He asked. Yes, Ava said. I saw Nia Thompson under table 7. Same time, same date. Nia looked at Ryan one more time. Is this how you handle complaints? By lying? By faking documents? By yelling at your own staff? Ryan finally lost his cool. You are not our guest tonight. You are not sitting in VIP. End of discussion. Liam shifted, clearly conflicted. Nia looked him in the eye. You've heard everything. You've seen what's happening. What's your move? Liam hesitated. I don't want to take sides. You already have, James said quietly. By standing there and letting this happen. Ava looked down. This isn't right, she whispered. Then she pulled her phone from her apron and hit record. I'm recording this too. For my protection, she said. Ryan turned red. That's illegal. You can't record here. I'm not showing anyone's face. It's just audio. Ava replied. I want it on record. Claire took a step forward. You'll lose your job for that. Then I'll lose it telling the truth, Ava said. She's being mistreated. You're all covering for it. James nodded. I'll confirm what I heard in the kitchen. Nia took a breath. You've shown me who you are. Every word of it is being logged. You judged me the second I walked in, and now you're trying to erase the proof. She turned slightly toward the other diners. You all saw it too. Several people nodded. Someone said quietly, We watched it happen. Nia didn't smile, but her voice was steady. I'm done asking. You'll hear from me again. Very soon. Ryan had reached his limit. His face was red, jaw tight, voice sharper than before. He grabbed the house microphone from the podium, switched it on, and said into the loudspeaker, Attention, everyone! We have a guest who is refusing to leave after being asked multiple times. For the comfort of others, we ask that she vacate the area immediately. The words echoed through the restaurant. Conversations stopped. Forks froze mid-air. Heads turned. Nia didn't move. She stood still, looking directly at Ryan. Unfazed, she said nothing. Her phone was still recording. Her face was calm, but her eyes were locked in. Liam stood behind her, unsure whether to act or wait. Claire stepped next to Ryan, arms crossed, satisfied now that things had been said publicly. Ava looked shocked. James stood up again, pushing his chair back hard. Are you serious? He said, loudly enough for the entire front section to hear. She showed you her reservation. You gave her table away for money. Now you're calling her disruptive? A few diners looked back at James. Some nodded in quiet agreement. Claire tried to wave him off. Sir, this doesn't involve you. It does now. James replied. I've been watching this play out for 20 minutes. You dismissed her, lied about the reservation, ignored your own trainee, and now you're trying to throw her out because she won't just accept it? Ryan held the mic again. Sir, please stay seated. But it was too late. The room had shifted. A couple near the window stood up. We heard everything, the woman said. This isn't right. Another table closer to the bar spoke up. She didn't raise her voice once. You all did. Nia finally spoke, still calm, still composed. You want me out, but I haven't done anything wrong. All I did was show up for a reservation I made through your system. You gave my table away. You called security. Now you're using the speaker system to embarrass me? Liam said nothing. He didn't move. Ava stepped forward now, slowly, her hands shaking slightly. She took a breath and spoke loud enough for everyone to hear. I recorded audio of what was said in the kitchen. Claire and Ryan made comments about her appearance. They laughed about it. Ryan said she looked like she didn't belong. Claire said she probably made up the reservation. Everyone in the room went quiet. Ryan turned toward Ava, his face completely still. You did what? Ava didn't back down. I recorded audio for my protection. I heard things that weren't okay, and I wanted proof. Claire stepped forward fast. That's against company policy. So is lying to a guest and faking the reservation log. Ava said. You printed the wrong list on purpose. I watched you do it. Ryan looked at Liam. Get her out of here too. But Liam didn't move. I'm not removing her, he said slowly. She didn't do anything wrong. Ryan stared at him. You work security. Do your job. Liam looked over at Nia. This is not what I signed up for. He muttered. Claire stepped closer to Ava now. You're going to regret this. Maybe, Ava replied. But not as much as I'd regret staying quiet. Nia turned slightly toward the guests around her. You all heard it. You saw what they did. This is what happens when people think no one's watching. James nodded again. We're watching now. A few guests moved their chairs slightly, putting themselves between Nia and the staff, not saying anything dramatic, not chanting, just quietly standing in solidarity. Claire glanced around, starting to realize what was happening. She whispered to Ryan. We're losing the room. Ryan looked nervous now, wiping sweat from his forehead. They'll calm down, he said, but his voice lacked confidence. Nia made another call, this time speaking quietly into her headset. Lauren, forward the recording and Ava's statement to Elena. Mark this urgent. We have multiple witnesses. Done, Lauren replied instantly. Elena's online now. Nia looked at Liam. You're still standing behind me. Are you sure you're standing for the right thing? Liam didn't speak, but he stepped 1 foot to the side, no longer behind her. Ryan tried again. We're going to resolve this privately. Can we all just sit down and... No, Nia said, firm now. You lost that chance when you called security and used the loudspeaker. You made it public. Now we deal with it here, James said to the room. They're trying to cover this up. Don't let them... The woman near the window pulled out her phone and said, I already emailed a complaint to corporate. I included names. Claire looked panicked now. You're all turning this into something it doesn't have to be. It already is, Ava said. You just didn't expect anyone to speak up. Nia looked at Ryan one more time. I gave you every chance to make this right. You dismissed me. You ignored evidence. You insulted me. And now you want to control the fallout, but you're not in control anymore. Ryan shook his head. This is out of hand. No, Nia said again. This is accountability. Claire stepped back slowly. Ryan didn't speak. The diners stood quietly. No yelling, no chaos. Just quiet. Firm defiance. Nia looked at Ava. You okay? Yeah, she said. I was scared. But I'm good now. You're brave, Nia said. You did the right thing. Liam looked around the room, then back at Ryan. If you want me to remove anyone now, I'm going to need a reason that makes sense. Ryan didn't respond. He looked like a man who realized the walls were closing in. Claire picked up the microphone from the podium, but her hand shook and she put it back down. Nia stood in the middle of the floor, steady, quiet, but completely in control of the room. I built Etoile to stand for something, she said calmly. Not for this. She looked over at the Harrisons, who were still sitting quietly at her table, confused by everything unfolding around them. They made no move to leave. Nia looked back to the crowd. You've all seen enough. James nodded. We have. Ava put her phone away. Liam folded his arms but didn't move. Ryan looked toward the kitchen. Claire looked down at the floor. And Nia just stood there, waiting. The 9 minutes weren't over yet, but the shift had already begun. Ryan wasn't done yet. He pulled Claire aside and whispered something to her quickly. Claire nodded, straightened her posture, and walked over to Liam. Security needs to do their job, she said loud enough for the nearby tables to hear. She was told to leave. This can't continue. Liam didn't budge. I haven't seen her do anything wrong, he replied. She hasn't been violent, hasn't raised her voice, hasn't threatened anyone. Claire's tone turned sharp. You're not here to think, you're here to follow orders. Liam looked her in the eye. I follow orders that make sense. Ryan came over, annoyed, and stepped in between them. This ends now, he said. He turned toward Nia, pointing. You need to leave immediately, or we'll call the police. Nia didn't flinch. Do it, she said. Call them, and I'll explain to them, on record, how you took a $400 tip from guests and reassigned my table. I'll show them the audio from your staff laughing at me in the kitchen, and I'll show them your forged reservation log. Ryan paused. His mouth opened, then closed. He looked toward the guests, who were watching silently. The room was still, but the energy had shifted completely. Nia turned slightly and said to the diners nearby, If they put their hands on me, I want you all to remember what you saw tonight. James, still standing, said, We've got you. 2 more diners stood up without speaking. A couple at a corner table quietly moved their chairs, placing themselves near Nia. No one was shouting, no one was acting wild, but it was clear the customers were no longer neutral. Ava, still near the host stand, stepped closer to Nia. They can't get away with this, she said softly. Nia nodded and pulled out her phone again. She tapped her screen, waited, then spoke calmly. Elena, it's Nia. I need to initiate immediate action. Elena Torres, the regional director, answered on speakerphone. I'm here. What's happening? Nia kept her voice steady. I'm standing in the dining room of our Atlanta location. Table 7, my reserve table, was taken after the manager accepted a bribe. Staff denied my booking, forged documents, mocked me in the kitchen, and threatened removal. I have audio recordings. I have witnesses. I'm formally requesting termination of the manager, Ryan Walsh, and server, Claire Morgan. I'm also requesting probation with training for security officer Liam Carter. And I'd like Ava Brooks recognized for whistleblowing and integrity. The dining room stayed dead quiet. Elena didn't hesitate. Understood. Approvals granted. I'll coordinate an internal meeting immediately. Claire's mouth dropped open. Who the hell are you? She asked. Ryan looked stunned. Wait, what? Nia looked directly at them. I'm Nia Thompson. I own 27% of this company, and I've had enough. Claire blinked, then stepped back a full pace. Ryan looked pale. Liam straightened up, almost like realizing he'd been given a second chance. Elena continued on speaker. Nia, I've confirmed recordings from your assistant. We're logging everything. Ryan and Claire will be removed pending final HR sign-off. Liam, you'll begin a 3-month probation with training. Ava will receive a formal commendation and role review. Compensation will be offered to impacted guests. We will issue no public statement at this time. Nia nodded. Thank you. Elena, please alert Lauren to coordinate follow-up. Already done, Elena said. I'll step off this call and prepare the internal review. Thank you for acting decisively. The call ended. Claire was frozen in place. Ryan stammered. I didn't know. I thought... Nia cut him off. You thought what? That someone who looked like me couldn't possibly belong here? Ryan looked at the floor. We were busy. It was a mistake. No, Nia said. It was a choice. Over and over again. And now you're accountable for it. Claire tried to interrupt. I didn't know she was. That I was a co-owner? Nia said. So if I were just another guest, this would be okay? Claire didn't respond. Ava stepped forward. This is what I've seen for weeks. The tone, the favoritism, the way complaints are ignored. Nia turned to her. You spoke up when no one else would. You were brave, and I saw that. Ava looked down, emotional, but nodded. Thank you. Liam cleared his throat. I know I was part of this. I shouldn't have followed their lead. I didn't ask enough questions. I judged too fast. Nia nodded. You'll have a chance to fix that. You'll be retrained. If you stay on, it'll be because you earn it. Liam looked relieved but serious. I will. At that point, James stepped toward Ryan and Claire. You tried to embarrass her in front of everyone, but you just exposed yourselves. The way you spoke about her, how fast you were to push her out. It says everything. A woman at a nearby table added. I've been coming to Etoile for years. I've never seen something handled this badly. Another guest chimed in. If she wasn't the owner, would you still be calling security? Claire said nothing. Ryan looked completely deflated. Nia looked around the room. I didn't come here to make a scene. I came here to see how this place was being run. What I found tonight won't be ignored. We are going to fix this. From the inside. A few people started clapping. Soft. Not loud, but genuine. Nia raised her hand. Thank you. But this isn't about praise. It's about change. She turned to Ryan and Claire. You're both done here. Please leave. Ryan looked like he wanted to argue, but didn't. Claire opened her mouth, then shut it again. Liam stepped in and quietly said, Let's go. He walked them toward the back exit, not roughly, but firmly. The room stayed quiet until the door shut behind them. Then, slowly, diners started to breathe again. People sat down. Glasses clinked. Ava stood beside Nia, still looking shocked. Is this real? She asked. It is. Nia replied. And now we move forward. James smiled. That was the most honest moment I've seen in a restaurant in a long time. Nia looked over at the Harrisons, still sitting silently at table 7. They looked embarrassed now, unsure of what to do. Nia walked over, calm. Enjoy your meal, she said. But next time, don't let your tip buy someone else's dignity. They nodded, quietly gathering their things and slipping out. Nia didn't stop them. She walked back toward Ava. Let's get you moved into a full-server role. You've earned it. Ava looked stunned. Thank you. No, Nia said. Thank you. And just like that, the energy in the room began to shift again. This time, for the better. James was the first to break the silence. You're Nia Thompson? He asked, still standing, still processing what just happened. The room was frozen, eyes wide, forks mid-air, conversations cut off. Nia turned toward him and gave a small nod. Yes. I'm the co-owner of Etoile Cuisine. I own 27% of this company. Her voice was steady. She didn't raise it, but it carried through the room like someone had turned the volume up on the truth. She looked at Ryan and Claire, who had stopped near the back exit, unsure if they were supposed to keep going or wait for more instructions. And I intend to fire Ryan Walsh and Claire Morgan for misconduct, customer discrimination, and falsifying company records. That process begins now, Nia said. She pulled out her phone, tapped a button, and spoke directly to Lauren through her earpiece. Log official termination notices for Ryan Walsh and Claire Morgan. Include audio and written witness accounts. Add Ava Brooks to system flag for promotion review. Lauren responded instantly. Notices drafted. Ava is tagged. Elena has acknowledged receipt and requested follow-up call post-shift. Nia nodded and looked over at Liam. As for you, she said calmly, you will be placed on probation with mandatory retraining. If you choose to continue working here, you will go through full policy re-education and performance review every 30 days for the next 3 months. Liam gave a slow, respectful nod. I accept that, he said, and I'll do better. I was wrong. I followed the wrong tone, the wrong people. I should have asked questions. Nia nodded once. Then use this chance well. She turned back toward the guests. I also want to thank everyone here who stood up, who didn't stay quiet. You saw something wrong, and you chose to speak. That matters. A few guests gave small nods. One clapped once, softly, and a few more joined in, but Nia held up a hand. No applause, she said. This isn't about me. This is about how we move forward. This is about what this place stands for, and what it refuses to tolerate. She looked back at Ava, who stood still beside the host stand. You risked a lot by speaking up. Nia said, You didn't have to. But you did. Ava's voice cracked slightly. I didn't want to stay quiet. It didn't feel right. And that instinct, Nia said. That's what this place needs more of. So starting today, you'll be promoted. Full server. You'll get the training, the pay, and the authority that comes with it. Ava's eyes welled up, and she covered her mouth. Thank you, she whispered. Don't thank me, Nia said. You earned it. You did the right thing when it was hard. Nia took a deep breath and addressed the entire room. Let me be clear. Ryan and Claire will not be rehired at any Etoile location. Their names will be flagged in the company system as non-returnable. No references, no transfers. Their time here is over. Ryan finally spoke up from the back of the room, his voice low and cracking. This is insane. You're ruining careers over a misunderstanding. Nia turned slowly to face him. It wasn't a misunderstanding. It was a pattern. You didn't check the system. You gave a table away for cash. You refused to correct your mistake. You tried to humiliate me publicly. You ignored the voice of a junior staff member and laughed about it behind closed doors. That's not a misunderstanding. Ryan, that's who you chose to be when you thought no one was watching. Claire's face was blank now, eyes moving around the room like she was searching for an escape. Nia stared at her. Do you have anything to say? For a few seconds, there was nothing. But then Claire finally spoke, her voice tight. It wasn't just tonight, she admitted. There were other times. Ryan told me to move reservations around before, mostly for regulars or people who paid, sometimes based on how people looked. He didn't want certain guests near the front. The room grew even quieter. No one interrupted. Claire kept going. I forged 3 lists this week. He told me it would help the vibe. I didn't think it would come back like this. Nia didn't look away. And now it has. Claire looked down. Ryan said nothing. James stepped forward again. So this wasn't just one mistake. It was routine. Nia nodded. which is why this won't end with just 2 terminations. I'll be initiating a full internal audit, company-wide, every location, every log. If there are more situations like this, we'll deal with them. If there's a culture that allowed this to grow, we'll cut it out. Liam swallowed hard but didn't object. Ava looked stunned but hopeful. One guest raised a hand and asked, "What happens to us? The people who saw it? Who were here tonight?" Naya answered right away. "You'll be contacted by customer care within 24 hours. Your meals tonight are fully comped. Anyone who wants to provide a statement will be given a private channel to do so. You will not be ignored." A soft murmur moved through the room, this time one of quiet approval. Nia took one last look around. "I came here to see how things were running," she said. "I didn't come expecting this, but I'm glad I saw it. Because now, something can change." Then, lowering her voice slightly, more to herself than anyone else, she added, "This is why I built Étoile. To mean something, to stand for something better." The room was silent again, not out of discomfort now, but out of respect. Nia turned back to Liam. "Escort them out the side entrance. Quietly. No drama. This part is done." Liam nodded and walked toward Ryan and Claire. They didn't resist. They didn't speak. They followed him out through the side hallway as every set of eyes in the room tracked their exit. When the door shut, the weight in the room shifted, not lifted, but rebalanced. The damage had been done, but the repair had begun. After the dining room settled and the guests returned to their tables, Nia stepped aside with Liam, Ava, and 2 other senior staff members who had just arrived from the back office after hearing the situation unfold. She asked that the host stand be paused and requested a closed floor for 10 minutes to handle internal matters. A few servers coordinated with the kitchen to delay new orders while the leadership team circled up near the bar area. "This will serve as our official internal meeting," Nia said clearly. "What we say here will go into the record. Everything will be documented and shared with corporate oversight." Everyone in the small group nodded, except for Ryan and Claire, who stood off to the side, clearly tense but still present. Nia looked directly at them. "Ryan Walsh, your actions violated both company policy and our core values. You accepted money in exchange for reassigning a confirmed reservation. You failed to verify guest records, refused to investigate a complaint, verbally escalated the situation, and used the PA system to publicly embarrass a guest. You also disregarded statements from other staff, including Ava, and participated in mocking a guest behind her back. Effective immediately. You are terminated from Étoile Cuisine." Ryan didn't interrupt. His face was red. His eyes stuck to the floor. Nia continued. "Claire Morgan, you forged guest records, printed falsified reservation logs, ignored evidence of a legitimate reservation, and repeatedly undermined a fellow team member. You made discriminatory comments about a guest's appearance and attempted to pressure others into remaining silent. You are also terminated effective immediately. Neither of you will be eligible for rehire or reference," Claire said quietly. "I understand." Ryan didn't speak. Nia turned her attention to Liam. "Liam Carter, you enforced orders without verifying the situation, attempted to remove a guest who had done nothing wrong, and made assumptions based on appearance. You didn't act maliciously, but you acted passively in the face of bias. For that reason, I'm placing you on probation. You will complete a full training and accountability program over the next 90 days. During this time, your conduct will be reviewed every 30 days. If progress is shown, you'll retain your role. If not, you'll be removed." Liam nodded slowly. "That's fair," he said. "I accept full responsibility." "Good," Nia said. "Then I expect you to rebuild trust. Starting now." She turned to Ava. "Ava Brooks, you recorded audio to protect yourself and others. You spoke up, repeatedly. Even when your own job was threatened, you provided clear and honest observations, supported guests, and followed your instincts with integrity. Effective immediately, you are promoted to full server. You'll receive updated pay, role training, and mentorship from a senior trainer starting tomorrow. Ava's eyes widened, and she looked like she couldn't believe what she was hearing. I don't even know what to say, she said softly. Then don't, Nia replied. Just keep being you. Lauren called in via speakerphone at that moment. Elena is on the line, she said. We're ready to proceed with the wider update. Nia tapped her headset. Elena, we've concluded the internal disciplinary meeting. Both Ryan and Claire have been officially terminated. Liam is on probation. Ava has been promoted. Elena's voice came through clearly. All logged. I'm initiating a policy audit starting tomorrow. We'll be conducting anonymous staff interviews, reviewing complaint records from the last 6 months, and issuing an open statement to employees about the changes. Perfect, Nia said. Also, I'm ordering a full review of regional oversight. If similar cases show up anywhere else, we need to know. I want those records pulled and reviewed before the end of the week. Understood, Elena said. We've already seen incoming leads from a few locations. Apparently, tonight's incident is being talked about internally. Nia looked at the small group around her. As it should be. This can't be a one-time fix. This is structural, Lauren added. A draft for an internal reform memo is ready. It includes a new bias reporting hotline, a rotating audit team, and a ban on same-shift management approvals for reservation overrides. Send it, Nia said. I want it live by morning, Elena replied. We'll move on it. Oh, and media's starting to get wind of this. Someone in the dining room must have leaked something. It's spreading fast through a few channels. Nia didn't flinch. Let it spread. The right people will know we're not ignoring this. Liam looked over at her. If I can say something, he said carefully. Nia nodded. Go ahead. I messed up, he said. But I want to do the work. I don't want to be part of this kind of culture. I want to learn from this. Nia looked him in the eye. Then show me. Every shift, every moment. It's on you now. Claire quietly spoke up again. There were other times, she said. Ryan had me adjust logs before, change tables. Sometimes we just pushed certain people to the side. We told them the system was full. It happened more than once. Ryan finally snapped. Why are you throwing me under the bus now? Because it's true, Claire replied. And I'm not going to lie anymore. Nia looked at Elena's contact icon on her phone. Elena, log that statement. We've just confirmed a broader pattern of misconduct and cover-up between Ryan and Claire. Flag the case as a priority review. Elena responded without hesitation. Confirmed. Company-wide review now required. Lauren chimed in again. We're getting inbound messages from other staff across regions already. Nia took a deep breath. Good. This is how it starts, not just with terminations, but with real transparency. She looked at the group around her. You're either part of fixing the problem, or you're part of keeping it hidden. No one argued. The message was clear. Nia looked toward the dining room, where diners were still quietly finishing their meals, now aware something big had just happened. The guests will be taken care of, she said. Comped meals, follow-up calls, a letter of explanation if needed, but more importantly, they'll know someone cared enough to do something, Lauren said. We'll handle logistics from here. You can step away if needed. Nia shook her head. No, I'll stay. I started this night with a reservation like any other guest. I'll finish it standing here like every other leader should. She looked at Ava. You good? Yeah, Ava said, smiling now. More than good. Nia took one last look around the circle. Then we close this meeting. Reform starts now. And with that, the team began to break away. No ceremony, no applause, Just quiet action. The kind that actually means something. The dining room slowly settled into a quiet hum. The tension that had filled the space just minutes earlier was gone, replaced by something softer. Thoughtfulness. Nia remained standing in the same spot near the center of the room, not to give a speech or demand more attention, but because she had something to say and knew the room deserved to hear it. "I want to thank those of you who stood up," she began, her voice steady and clear. "Tonight wasn't just about a reservation. It was about what happens when bias goes unchecked. I've built Étoile with the belief that every guest matters. And tonight, that belief was tested, not just by staff, but by how people around them chose to respond." She looked to James, who had spoken up first, then to the diners who had quietly supported her, then to Ava, who stood just a few steps behind, now no longer a trainee, but a promoted server who had made a real difference. "We don't fix problems like this with statements," Nia continued. "We fix them by acting, by changing how we train, how we supervise, how we listen. That's already begun." She turned slightly, making eye contact with guests nearby. "Every customer affected tonight will be followed up with. Every complaint filed in the past 6 months across Étoile will be reviewed. Every override to a reservation will now require 2 approvals, and every staff member will go through updated training with no exceptions." Liam, still standing by the side, nodded quietly. He hadn't tried to speak again, but he stayed present. James raised his voice slightly, enough to be heard. "What about the managers who let this go on before? This couldn't have started tonight." Nia nodded. It didn't. At that moment. Lauren's voice came through Nia's earpiece. "We just got confirmation," she said. "A former employee from another location submitted a statement. Said they reported similar discrimination months ago. Same manager, same pattern. But the report was dismissed by someone above Ryan." Nia responded without hesitation. "Log it. Begin a review of regional oversight. No one is protected from accountability. Not even those in corporate." Then she looked back at James. "You were right. It didn't start here, but it ends here. And we're following every thread it leads to." A few people clapped softly. Not for drama, but for agreement. Ava stepped forward slightly, unsure if she should say anything. Nia turned to her. "You okay?" Ava nodded. "I didn't think I'd be heard, but I'm glad I said something." "So am I," Nia said. "You reminded everyone here what courage looks like." She turned back to the diners. "You all saw the worst and the best of Étoile tonight. What matters now is what we build from this, and we will build something better." With that, she paused. No dramatic exit, no applause request, just a brief silence before the space slowly resumed its rhythm. Plates clinked, soft music returned, and servers moved through the dining room again, this time with different energy. And then, time passed. 3 months later. Nia stood inside a newly opened Étoile branch in Charlotte, this time with no disguise, no undercover plan, just a quiet visit to see how the changes had taken root. Ava was now in leadership training, mentoring new hires. Liam had completed his probation and was helping roll out the very training he had gone through. Complaint reviews were now part of weekly operations. Dual approvals for guest management were in effect. Staff across multiple cities had reported old incidents that had been buried, and those were being reopened. The company had started listening more, not just when something exploded, but before. Nia walked the floor like any leader would, checking on service, speaking to staff, greeting guests not as a title, but as a person. She passed a table where a couple smiled warmly and said, "Thank you for what you're doing." She smiled back, grateful, but focused. Things still weren't perfect. There was still work to do, but something real had changed, not just in policy, but in people, and that was worth standing for.